Hello everyone, Jesse from JRoussel.Creations here. Today I am going to be talking to you about Edgie, a Silly Moon Quilting Company ruler. Edgie comes in a 6" by 3" and the 10" variant. Let's see if I can get it in the frame. Nope. For beginners, I would suggest using the 6" just because it gives you a lot more stability and control over the ruler itself. Now, before we get started, I want a small talk about safety. Safety is paramount when you're quilting with rulers, and the easiest way to do that is with a ruler base. As you can see, the actual throat of my machine is only about 3" wide, and that does not give nearly enough stability for the entire length of my ruler. So, a ruler base is always needed. I don't care if you're doing 2" or an entire quilt. Always use a ruler base. These will be designed for your machine model specifically by different manufacturers, sometimes the manufacturer of your machine, other times a third party can also make them. So, Edgie is a basic straight edge ruler. Straight edges are very, very important for ruler working, simply because they allow you to do ditch stitching and traveling very easily. So, as you can see, I've kind of chalked out just a random design, and we'll just get going. The basics to rulers, I will try and get this in frame. You want to apply a decent amount of pressure, but not too much pressure, because if you apply too much pressure, you're actually applying pressure to the ruler base under the fabric, and it will be very hard to move your machine. As you can see, I'm like pulling. So the best way, with the needle up of course, is gentle pressure. And so what you would do is lean your ruler up against your ruler foot. Most long arms will have a 1/4" high profile foot used for a 1/4" ruler. Silly Moon also makes an 1/8" ruler, though those are exclusively for domestic machines, as long arms have a hopping foot, and the hop itself is greater than 1". So we do not recommend using anything but a 1/4" ruler. And so yeah, on to a couple basics. You want to apply a bit of pressure down on the ruler as well as up against the foot, and you want to pull your machine towards the ruler. This is easy when it's straight in line this way, but when you get on weird angles, that's when a bit of control comes in. So we will go and turn our machine on and pull ever so slightly down and diagonally towards the machine. Now I'm going to stop before I hit the end of my ruler, so that way I can reposition. Once you get a bit more capable, you can either reposition a bit on the fly, though I don't suggest that until you have a couple years experience, because it is kind of tricky and you can shift your ruler. As I said, a 6" is great for beginners because it allows you to have complete control over the entire length of the ruler, as opposed to a 10" ruler where you have to adjust your hands in a method called walking. So as you can see, I've got 2 fingers on the quilt top, one pressed up against the edge of the ruler, and 3 others on the ruler itself applying downward pressure. I've got my foot pushing into the ruler, and this finger here applying pressure this way. So everything is stable. But now that I've reached essentially the end of my fingertip pressure, I need to walk my hand up so I can continue quilting. And I can slide the ruler up. And this is another issue. If the ruler is too long, you could end up falling off the edge of your ruler base. And it'll tilt up and possibly hop into the foot and under your needle, and then you break your ruler, you break your needle, you throw off the timing of your machine, and that's a whole bunch of headache no one needs. There we are. Now, the fun thing about longer rulers is, well, you don't need to reposition as often. As you can see, I did almost that entire length without having to move my ruler. Just got that little edge right there. And so now we're going to try a different hand because it's not always easy to be comfortable. So, straight edge rulers are great for ditch work, essentially outlining a project. They're also good for straight line quilting. They are good for echo work. As you can see, Edgie here has a couple repeats engraved into it. So for a 1/4 inch line, the foot is a 1/4 inch away. So once I want to repeat, I can put Edgie's engraved 1/4 inch mark on my previous stitch line, and then I will have a 1/2 inch echo because add in the 1/4 inch of my foot, and that's where my needle would be. We could do 3/4 of an inch or a full inch, 1.25 inches. There's also 30, 45, and 6 degrees on both of the rulers so that you can get some fun angles. And yeah, we'll just continue on and have some fun. Different ways to hold the ruler, as I was saying. You've got your basic 3-finger on the ruler, one up against the edge, pushing up against the ruler foot. You have opposite hold. Again, 3 fingers on the ruler, one up against the edge with the ruler foot pushing up against the ruler. This is good for, say, if you're in a tight space at the edge of the quilt and you don't have any room to put the ruler foot on this side. Also handy for reversed left-handed people. I am right-handed, but I guide my machine with my right hand. So I've kind of ambidextrously learned to control the ruler with my left. Other people will use both hands indeterminately so that they can use the same 3-finger hold no matter which side they're going. One slightly complicated one that people sometimes have issues with is behind the foot. This is sometimes an issue when you're going in a more complicated design, but generally more so with circles. And we'll get to that in a future video. And as you can see, whenever I go to reposition the ruler, I stop my machine with the needle down. It's just easier and safer. If you leave your machine running, you could nick it as you're moving the ruler, and then you get a little ditch, and that's not really good. Now, sometimes when you're quilting, your ditches aren't perfectly straight. So sometimes they'll have a little divot in them. I don't know if you can see that just yet. Yeah. So they'll have a little divot where the piecing isn't perfectly straight. And instead of driving straight down the edge of the ruler where you'll come out of the ditch, it's actually best to fudge it a little. And follow your stitch line instead of the actual ruler line. And that's just a simple tactic of edging the ruler away and then following it back to straight. Cut our threads here. There you have it. Basic ruler work with Edgie 10 and Edgie 6 by Silly Moon Quilting Co. If you have any questions, any comments, let me know in the comments, and I will see what I can do in the next videos. Thanks. Have a good day.